You can't stay in the suspense because you lack taqwa, right? You lack iman. You lack trust in Allah. If you trust in Allah, you should be actually very relaxed. That's the truth. You should actually be extremely relaxed if that's the case. That is how you build a different kind of imaginary scenario based on unreal fears that fill your head. And what does Shaitan promise? He promises you fear. يُخَوِّفُ أَوْلِيَاءَهُ. He fears the people that he's assigned to. He's assigned to people that you're supposed to make them afraid. So we don't know the future, but we know who owns the future. We know the script writer of the future, right or wrong. That's the key. We know who wrote the script in the book of destiny. If I know who wrote it, then I should be relaxed, right? Even if he has to judge against me or against what I desire, right? At least I know it's that's just going to be a temporary, and in the long run, it's going to be good. And that's what Muslims do. We focus on who is the author of the future. And we also focus on who is the author of the present. So it's not all these people doing things in the present. No, it's Allah making them do things. So yes, they're responsible legally, of course, for the kasb of those deeds. But who's the creator of them? That's why it's important to know creation and kasb. Allah creates and people earn. And they're legally responsible for what they earn. But ultimately, the creator is Allah himself. And that's what gives a Muslim relief. The more you think about Allah, you realize everything is in his control. So why do I need to worry? Even the future. I don't know which way it's going to go, but I know the author is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The future. And if the future is in the hands of a vicious person, who put it in his hands? Who put it in his hands? When the heart is devoid of this trust in Allah, then anxiety takes complete control. At first, the anxiety is normal, even though it is painful. For example, when you return home and try to go to bed, you'll toss and turn. It's normal to toss and turn for a while without any sleep because you're thinking about something. Right? What's the end result? How's the project going to go? Am I going to get hired? Am I going to accept it? Eventually, Allah blesses you with sleep. This is the normal situation for normal people who have a little bit of anxiety. And that's why it's actually a sunnah to do dhikr for 30 minutes before you sleep. Some ulama calculated the adhkar of the Prophet before they slept, and they calculated it to be about 30 minutes. If you sat and did dhikr for 30 minutes in your bed before you slept, before you laid down, just sitting upright in your bed, you'd find yourself sleeping a lot easier. However, the moment you wake up, all the stress comes back to you. And all the anxiety comes back to you. Now, every time it lasts longer and longer because you're indulging these terrible thoughts. You know that sometimes it's not even just the deen that helps us with. There are some people with common sense, with people with introspection who are not Muslims, who have recognized this and realized it's all about the thoughts that I allow to settle in my head. These thoughts. And the best way to get rid of bad thoughts is to utter good words. To utter positive statements impacts your mind. When you utter them, it impacts you. Forget it impacts others, but it impacts you. And you start to believe that things are going to be okay. This is what, likewise, if you're down and you just force yourself to smile, your state changes. You change the state of everyone around you, and then you benefit from yourself and from them too. This is well known, he says. The person who constantly fears the specter of poverty always embraces the dreams of richness and eagerly strives in search of wealth in this life, if not for himself, then for his children, whom he will leave behind. When this person has a soul devoid of trust in Allah and a mind lacking certainty that Allah is the one directing the entire universe, he ruminates this situation with huge pains and suffers as a result. Specter of poverty hardly ever leaves him alone. And that's because if you think that you're going to attack poverty and you're going to attain wealth, then clearly, if you're a rational person, you're going to have to admit, I have limited powers. And my opponents, I have finite resources. The wealth out there is finite when you look at it. And my competition is many. I'm competing against 10, 20 guys, and I'm only one guy. So chances of success are very little. But when you change your perspective and you tell yourself who is truly in charge. And what did Allah ask us? He asked our body to put in the effort and our heart not to worry. That's what Allah asks us. Your body must put in the effort and your heart must not worry. الشيطان يعدكم الفقر. Shaitan promises you poverty. Poverty is not just in anything. Poverty is not just in money. It's in everything. Poverty of wealth. We talked about the midlife crisis, right? We talked about the midlife crisis. People they feel that their beauty's decreasing. They start wondering, is this going to be my life forever? What do you mean forever? You only got like 20 more years to really live, and then you're an old man. After that, it's not going to matter. And the Muslims have a type of midlife crisis, which is where all the second wife talks come into play. Most people, it's like a joke, right? But when you are married to someone, it's not a joke anymore because it affects them. So I'm telling you, so many people, they just joke about this and they talk about it. Even somebody recently even asked me, where is your wedding? Is it halal to wear a wedding ring? It's halal to wear a wedding ring, right? I mean, I personally don't wear any jewelry on my wrists and hands because I lose them in wudu and everything like that. Shower, all this, I find it's a headache, right? But I don't wear one, but but I am married, and I wouldn't even contemplate the concept. You're gonna just completely flip your life upside down, but you're also lived your life with a person for this long. You're gonna throw that out. Where's your shukr? Where's your sensitivity to the person that you're living with? It's not just about ourselves. And what he's saying in this book is that a person will get into such a depression that he starts to be completely self-centered and worried about his own happiness, right? All he worried about is his own happiness. And he becomes completely insensitive, and that's why these guys in the midlife crisis of depression, they get these depression and they leave everything. They abandon their kids. Your wife lived with you 25 years and you're just going to abandon that? Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab. Forget the fact that, love in a marriage is something that is reproduced daily. What's going on? Is there alternate sounds or something?